Good morning, all of you. I am S.D. Sharma, Director Financial Law, GERC. Welcomes you on behalf of the GERC Commission for this public hearing. The Goa has filed the APR Annual Performance Review for the year 2022-23 and the tariff petition for the ensuing year 2023-24. The petition has been admitted by the Honorable Commission as marked under petition number 95 of 2022. The commission is chaired by Honorable Member Law, Ms. Srimati Jyoti Prasad, and the quorum is complete for the hearing. May I request Honorable Member Law to begin the further proceedings, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. We will begin the proceedings for the
May I request ED Goa to present the petition before the public present.
Prudent,
May I request all of you to please be seated and keep all your mobile phone either on switch off mode or silent mode, and request all the stakeholders who is present in the hearing to raise their hand in case of any objection or suggestion to the petition filed by the Goa, and one by one. Kindly maintain the quorum of the hearing, please.
A very good morning to you all. Honorable Member, Joint Electricity Regulatory Commission for the State of Goa and Union Territories, Director Finance, Sharma sir, media, various organizations, associations, industries, MLAs, and my dear consumers. My name is Stephen Fernandez, Chief Electrical Engineer. I am here on behalf of Electricity Department to present the tariff petition, which will include three things: annual performance review for the financial year 2022-23, ARR, aggregate revenue requirement for the year 2023-24, and the tariff proposal for the year 23-24. We will include the following topics for the APR and ARR: the brief background, distribution losses for the Electricity Department for the State of Goa, the power purchase for the State of Goa, APR and ARR, along with the tariff proposal. As you all are aware, for the clarity of all the stakeholders, a brief background. We all are aware that we are the only transmission and distribution licensee in the State of Goa. Goa does not have any of their own generation, and we entirely depend on the central allocation, which majorly comes from NTPC and LPCI, almost 75% along with the renewables. Goa is the only state which shares interstate land from the two regions, that is the western and the southern region. Goa being at the tail end of the western region, we have an added advantage that we have power from the southern region also. Our peak demand, which was recorded, was in the month of May 2022, that too after the COVID, which shows there is a revival of economy and load has increased. It was recorded to 750 megawatt and is met through various sources of NTPC, open market, short-term market, renewables, and from CRC licensed traders. We have a peak allocation from the Government of India, central allocation, that is 620.08 megawatt, and off-peak hour allocation of 628.24 megawatt from the various CGS, Central Generating Stations. I already explained our major share is from the Central Generating Station. Then we have small 3 cogeneration plants in the state of Goa, supplied by Vedanta 1, 2, and one small sponge, Goa sponge, almost 1.2 megawatt. This is the list. From the western region, we get around 408.28 megawatt, and southern region 100. This is the firm allocation what the state of Goa is getting from the central government. Total, considering the unallocated power, we have almost 620.08 megawatt of allocation from the central ministry. As I explained, we have small 3 plants, cogeneration, power generated from the waste heat recovery, we normally say. That is Vedanta 1. It varies from 14 to 21 based on their main plant, that is a peak plant. And based on the amount of gases, it varies. Only after their internal consumption is met, whatever balance power is fed to the government of Goa. Vedanta 2 megawatt, and Goa Sponge 1 megawatt. Around 24 megawatt is the generation happening in Goa. Apart from that, we have RPO, Renewable Power Obligation, as given by the Honorable Commission to fulfill the obligation as well as to meet the national target. We have 9% solar, we have 9% non-solar, and we have a small 0.35% for hydro, which has just started from this year. So we have 2 power purchase agreement for solar. One is from SECI, Solar Energy Corporation of India, that is 25 megawatt. We have NTPC Vidyut Vyapar Nigam Limited, a subsidiary of NTPC, 6 megawatt for short term, 5 years. Then we get net metering around 33.34 megawatt for the state of Goa. We have non-solar. Right now we have 3 agreements. The first 2 are with the SECI, Solar Energy Corporation of India, 50 megawatt into 2. And we have small plant which is normally operated on waste heat recovery, which also comes under non-solar, that is 1.54 megawatt. The balance power, since it is 18.35%, the total what is required is, we cannot meet through long-term agreements. We buy power from short-term market traders and from the deep portal. We have right now 100 megawatt of solar power for the short-term arrangement, and we have 40 megawatt as non-solar as a part of short-term power. Today's first topic is APR, Annual Performance Review for the year 2022-23. Again, these are the subtopics for the APR for the current year 22-23. Some of the important parameters. Number of consumers count for this year is 7,03,904. We have a connected load of around 3,248 megawatt. We have a sales of 4,435.81 million units. This is for this current year, 22-23. Just I have made a list to show the various percentage of consumers for the Goa. We have 80% of consumers which are giving us a revenue of 30.29%. On the other side, if you see the industry, we have only 1% as far as count is concerned. But they are almost giving 52% of revenue. And we have other categories. We have commercial 15% and rest are around 15 to 20%. Already explained in the initial slide. Total power purchase cost for this year is 2,230.19 crore. I'll explain the list from the various sources. But the total million units of 4,998.19, almost 5,000 million units. This is a breakup. Gross purchase, what was approved, the cost and the rate approved by the Honorable Commission in the tariff order which came on 31st March 2022. And these are the data provided in our petition. The basis of calculation for the annual performance review. We use the MYT Multi-Year Tariff Regulation 2021 to compute each and every parameter which is required for the computation of APR. We have taken 6-month actual data from April to September, and the second half-yearly data is been calculated on the projections and from the CGAR, 4-year CAGR value. The consumer count, the sales is projected based on the projections, whereas the consumers, number of consumers, connected load has been calculated based on 4-year CAGR and the various methods used in the regulations. The other expenses, O&M, depreciation, interest, return on equity, the values which are part of the APR and ARR are computed based on the regulations. The distribution loss for the state of Goa is 8.45%. We are lower than the approved values approved by the Honorable Commission. We have carried out various projects and different ways of in the SAP online. We have reduced these losses to 8.45%. This is the PGCI loss, the interstate lines from the generator which are located at a different part of our country, like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Maharashtra. From there to Goa periphery, these are the losses. For the western region, what was approved was 3.34%. For the southern region was 7.92%. And our projection based on the actual data and the projection which are made for the next half yearly, they are 2.89%, and for the southern region it is 6.97%. Based on the losses, our actual requirement at the periphery, we require 4,839.47 million units against the approved 4,726.31. The Goa's demand and Goa's load has increased a lot after the COVID. A lot of infrastructure projects have come based on which we have given a lot of load to the increased number of consumers. The net energy requirement at our Goa periphery is 4,681.08 after selling the power what we have accessed during the off-peak hours. This is a summary for the power procurement. So net power purchase cost is 2,230.19 crores, which I already explained in the initial slides. We go on merit order dispatch. Based on the Goa's requirement, we schedule and we unschedule certain plants based on the requirement of load and Goa's demand. The various projects which have been carried out in Goa, the capitalization and the capital expenditure, what was approved was almost 1,000 crores. We have revised it. We have submitted our petition, which comes to 950.92 crores as a capital expenditure, and the capitalization of 422.89 crores will happen for this year. In this, some of the projects which are spilled over from 2019, 20 and 21 and 22, and we have taken a lot of efforts to complete almost more than 800 crores projects have been completed for this year. This is all the costs put together in this slide for the APR 2022-23, based on which the total requirement, revenue requirement is 2,893.48 crores. Reducing it through non-tariff income, we get a net revenue requirement as 2,864.13 crores. Now we are on the second part of today's presentation, that is ARR, Aggregate Revenue Requirement for the year 2023-24, the next financial year. These are the same subtopics which are already covered in the APR, similar topics which are going to cover for the ARR. Again, the methodology used is JRC MYD Regulation 2021 notified in March 2021. Our entire petition is based on these MYD regulations. For the next year, the count of consumers is 7,26,815. We have increased it to 3.25% over this year. The connected load 3,412 megawatt. The sale 4,566.98 million units. Again the breakup, it has only increased by 3.25%. The similar data was given for APR. Again, the power requirement met from the similar sources, what has been done for the previous years and this year. The total power purchase cost as on today, what we have calculated is 2,013.94 crores against 2,230 crores what we have calculated for this current year. Now the reduction in power cost for the next year is basically last year we had a tough time. The international coal prices have increased and our country was going far ahead in the renewables. But renewables, as we all know, during peak hours, after 6 o'clock is a challenge. And last year we had gone through a huge challenge of arranging power, March, April, May. Because of the coal crisis, there was a huge problem. Therefore, we had to get foreign coal, which is much costly. The demand after COVID has increased like anything. Therefore, the cost in the market, in the IEX, has gone 20 rupees per unit. Thanks to the Honorable CRC, who immediately acted and put a capping of 12 rupees per unit. But still, that 12 rupees was quite high, and therefore the power purchase cost, which is almost 80% of our cost, has increased tremendously. This is again the breakup. We are increased the units because the load has increased, the consumption has increased, the demand of Goa has increased. The rate only for power purchase cost is 3 rupees 90 paise. As of now, there is no overdrawal planned, no short-term power, no IX. But definitely, I am sure, with a lot of projects in TV, Ponta, and Verna, the major transformers going to be commissioned soon, and we will increase because a lot of load is coming, basically in the northern coastal belt, and because of the Mopa new airport, almost 150 megawatt load growth is going to be witnessed. Therefore, we may have to go for IX and short-term power purchase. Again, the losses 8.45%. What is we have put in our petition. As per the old order, they approved are 10%. The interstate lines, the western region and the southern region, interstate losses is 3.31% and southern region is 7.85%. If you take an average, it comes to 3.55% for both the regions. The power from the western region being almost 80%. Again, considering the losses, we will require the net energy requirement at our Goa periphery will be 4,982 against approved 4,723. This is the power procurement and cost summary, including the RPO obligations. We will require 5,152.57 million units. We have at our disposal around 5,233 million units. If you look at today's data, we don't require any power from IEX. But I would like to mention once again, we will definitely witness a huge load growth, and we may have to go for IEX and short-term power purchase also. The capital expenditure what is planned for the financial year 23-24 is 1,368.56 crores, for which capitalization will happen for 1,118.69 crores. This is a big breakup of the different costs for the entire year 23-24. We will require total revenue required for the state of Goa would be 2,764.18. This is what we have proposed in the tariff petition. What was approved in the tariff order, which came in 31st March 2022, was 2,565.05 crores. By reducing the non-tariff income, the net revenue what is required for the state of Goa is 2,734.25 crores. This is an important slide which every consumer would like to know, and for the clarification, I'll just try to detail it out. The net ARR what we require for the year 23-24 is 2,734.25 crores. If we continue the same tariff what is there for this year, we will get 2,250.60 crores. That means the gap with the existing tariff is 483.65 crores. We have proposed 6% hike. Overall is 6% hike. But if you see the hike for different categories, for different slab is different. But the overall average figure is 6%. By introducing a hike of 6%, we are going to get additional revenue of 134 crores, 134.96, almost 135 crores additional revenue. In spite of increasing 6% overall tariff, still we will have a gap of 348.69 crores. That is going to be provided through budgetary support through Government of Goa. Now, this 134.96 crores, how we are going to recover across different categories, the increase of per unit prices for various categories and various slabs is detailed out in the next slides. Again, for the clarification and the knowledge of consumers, 2018-19 tariff we have maintained for the year 19-20. There was a hike in 2021 and 21-22 vis-a-vis tariff order passed by the Honorable Commission. But due to the COVID pandemic, Government of Goa has maintained the tariff of 2018-19. To be perfect, from 2019-20 till 21-22, there was no tariff hike. In spite of the order of the Honorable Commission, only because of the pandemic, Government of Goa has borne the additional burden from the state. Only what we did is KVH billing for HT consumers and EV charging station tariff was implemented for the year 21-22 as per the tariff order of the Honorable Commission for the year financial year 21-22. Only last year we have had a tariff rise of 1.58%, but everybody will say how it is 1.58. The last year's tariff order was for 1.58, but we have implemented the entire tariff which was approved by the Honorable Commission for the previous years also. Past tariff hike trends for the knowledge of the consumers. 8 years trend we have put on this slide. If you see from 1920 till 21-22, there was no hike. Last year there was a hike of 1.58% approved by the Honorable Commission, which was implemented by the Electricity Department. This year we have proposed 6% hike, overall percentage hike for the entire revenue. I have already explained in the previous slides, there was a huge rise in power cost, especially in the coal. We had to use the blended coal from the foreign countries. There was a huge demand, therefore the prices in the market, IEX, had gone to 20 rupees. The intervention from the Honorable CRC, there was a capping of 12 rupees, but all these 3 months the price was 12 rupees constant in the market. And if you see the prices of NTPC, if you calculate for the April to September for the previous year, that is 21 and 22, and this year, you can see the sharp rise in power cost. 2 rupees 69, it went to 4 rupees 33. In the month of May, 3 rupees 47, it went to 3 rupees 51. Like that, almost all the month, the price have increased because we are heavily dependent on the central allocation. And in fact, we are fortunate enough to have low cost tariff because of the old agreements what we have with the National Thermal Corporation run by the Government of India, NTPC, Power Corporation. So there was almost 30 to 40% increase in the cost. And therefore the FPPCA, Fuel and Power Purchase Cost Adjustment, which was normally negligible for many years, it was in the range of 10% to 50%. There was sharp increase in this year because of the increase in coal prices, which was approved by the Honorable Commission and implemented in the tariff. These are the various reasons why we have proposed for increase in tariff. The total cost, power cost itself is around 75 to 80%. And in that 80% of the cost, the rise in power is around 30 to 40%. And therefore we were forced to go for a hike in power tariff. These are detailed, each and every slab. There are 5 slabs in domestic, 00, 100, 101 to 200, 201 to 300, 301 to 400, and the last slab is above 400. There are 2 components, the fixed charges and the variable charges. The fixed charges from 20 rupees, we have proposed to increase to 22 rupees per kilowatt per month. The various prices for different slab, like from 1.6 to 1.75, these are only the proposed. From 2.35 to 2 rupees 60, 2.95 to 3.3, 3.9 to 4.4, and above 400 units, we have proposed from 4 rupees 50 paisa to 5 rupees 10 paisa. Once again, this is proposed. The second category, there's a LIG, low income group. We charge them 20 rupees per kilowatt per month, which we have increased by 2 rupees. For high tension domestic, we have only 4 domestic consumers in the state of Goa. The fixed charges were 110. We have proposed to increase it to 125 per kVA per month. And as a variable cost from 4 rupees 60 paisa, we have proposed to increase to 5 rupees 30 paisa. The next category is commercial, low tension commercial, LTC, what we basically call. There are 4 categories. How we have 5 categories in domestic, we have 4 categories in the commercial category. That is from 0 to 100, 101 to 200, and 201 to 400 units. The fixed charge varies based on the load. For consumers with load up to 20 kilowatt, they are charged 40 rupees per kilowatt per month. And anything above 20 kilowatt, we charge 60 rupees per kilowatt per month. The variable charges have increased from 3 rupees 55 to 4, not increased, once again proposed from 3 rupees 55 to 4 rupees. For the second slab, 4 rupees 35 to 4 rupees 85. For 201 to 400 units, we have proposed to increase from 4 rupees 85 to 5 rupees 50 paise. And above 400 units, we have proposed from existing 5 rupees 25 to 6 rupees. The fixed cost we have proposed to increase from 40 to 45 and from 60 to 70 for load above 20 kW. This is HTC, high tension commercial, for commercial and for industry. For all units for commercial it is 250 rupees per kVA per month for the industries, all the commercial establishments, We have proposed to increase for 285 per kVA per month. The energy charge from 5 rupees 25 to 6 rupees per unit. For the industrial, there are two slabs from 0 to 500 and above 500 units. For the low tension, there is 40 rupees per HP per month, and the variable charge is 3 rupees 40, which we have proposed to increase by 10 paise, increase in 10 paise, which comes to 3 rupees 50. For above 500 units also we have proposed 10 paise, that is from 3 rupees 95 to 4 rupees 05 paise. Then comes low tension mixed LTP hotel industry. We have a fixed charges of 50 rupees per kilowatt per month and a variable charge of 5 rupees 25, which we have proposed to 5 rupees 60. For HT, high tension industries, which are connected at 11 kV, 33 kV, they have a one fixed cost, that is 250 per kVA per month, and the variable cost of 4 rupees 80 paisa, which we intend to increase by 255 per kVA per month, and the variable charge from 4 rupees 80 to 4 rupees 90 paise. We have a different tariff of consumers which are connected at 110 kV. We have 7 numbers of 110 kV consumers. For them, the fixed cost charges presently are 250 per kVA per month, and the variable cost is 4 rupees 70 paise, which we have proposed to increase to 4 rupees 80 paise. High tension ferro, steel rolling, the fixed charge is 250 per kVA per month, and the variable charge is 4 rupees 80 paise. We have proposed to increase the fixed cost to 255, increase of 5 rupees per kVA, and for the variable cost from 480 to 490, 10 paise per unit. This is for low tension agriculture and agriculture pumps. For all units, it was 18 rupees per HP per month. The variable cost is 1 rupees 50. We have proposed for fixed cost by 2 rupees, that is 18 to 20, and for variable cost from 1.50 to 1.60, 10 paise. For allied activities, agriculture allied activities, we have proposed to increase by 25 paise, and the fixed cost by 3 rupees. Sorry, it is 2 rupees, from 25 to 27. Then comes the high tension agriculture and high tension agriculture pump sets. There also we have increased by 2 rupees the fixed cost, that is from 40 per kVA per month to 42 rupees kVA per month. The fixed cost, variable cost, we have proposed by 10 paise, from 160 to 170. And for high tension HT allied activities, we have proposed to have an increase of 7 rupees in fixed cost, that is from 70 per kVA per month to 77 per kVA per month. And the variable cost from 1 rupee 95 paise to 2 rupees 15 paise, an increase of 20 paise. This is for MES, Military Engineering Services and Defense Establishments. The fixed cost, we have kept it same, 200 rupees per kVA per month. The variable cost also is proposed to remain same, 4 rupees 90 paise. Public lighting, we have proposed increase for 70 per kilowatt per month to 72 by 2 rupees. For variable cost from 5 rupees 65 to 5 rupees 80 by 15 paise. Hoardings and signboards. On the fixed cost, we have increased by 7 rupees and for the variable cost we have increased 1 rupee from 10 rupees to 11 rupees. The LT temporary, domestic, commercial and all temporary, the methodology of calculation will remain same, that is 1.5 times the existing tariff of the various categories. Single point supply, residential complexes, commercial complexes, industrial complexes, we have increased the fixed cost from 110 to 120. For commercial complexes 220 to 240, and for industrial complexes from 220 to 240. This is the fixed cost. The variable cost from 3 rupees 50 for residential complexes to 3 rupees 90 paise. For commercial complexes, the variable cost will be proposed to increase from 480 to 530, and for industrial complexes, it is proposed for 440 to 490. Electrical vehicle charging station. To assist and to have more electrical vehicle charging, the tariff was very low, 3 rupees 50. They did not have any fixed charges. We have proposed to increase by 20 paise. Important measures taken by the electricity department. We have carried out different projects like installation of transformers which were pending at TV. The load was increasing like anything in the coastal belt. We have almost on the final commissioning of the 63 MVA transformer at TV. We have already given an order which is going to soon be commissioned at Ponda 63 MVA and at Verna 50 MVA. These are the major projects at 3 EHV substations which will fulfill the requirement of the consumers, especially the industries which are facing power issues. Whenever there was any issues, maybe in terms of coal or in terms of demand, the industry consumers were affected, which is going to get solved by way of these 3 transformers. There are various projects of converting from overhead to underground. We have replaced a lot of overhead conductors to HTLS conductors. We have replaced the old conductors to new conductors. We have replaced a lot of transformers with energy efficient transformers. We have replaced a lot of infrastructure. And therefore we have reduced the losses. Also the revamped distribution sector scheme which Government of India has introduced to bring down the losses and to get modernization and having the infrastructure, a robust infrastructure which will improve the efficiency, operational efficiency and the financial viability of the distribution sector. These are the various projects like transformers, conversion from overhead lines to underground cabling. Like some of the projects, we have done the major projects of 120 crores at Mapsa town, converting to underground cabling. And I know there is a lot of inconvenience for the public when we do such kinds of works. For this year, we have done maximum projects, almost 850 crores, which will soon we will be able to see the benefit in the power position. These are also some of the projects like in Perne, then in Sagwal, Zuwari Nagar, which are ongoing. These were the measures, these were the presentations from the electricity department. I know everybody has a concern over increase of proposed tariff, but at the same time I request the consumers to understand the electricity department, a sector which is required to be improved. A sector, if it has improved, all the other sector will improve. If you have to improve the economy of the state and the country, the sector which requires priority, importance is the power sector. Today, a single consumer cannot stay even 5 minutes, especially in the cities. So, such an importance and criticality of the power sector. Therefore, after long years, we have done heavy investment, which you all can see works happening in Mandre, Morche, Mapsa, Porvuri, Ponda, Kepe, Sange. Various projects have been taken place, and it is a need of an hour that we increase the prices, because even if we proposed 6% hike, still we are way back we are much far, I would say, to bridge the gap of almost 400 crores, which is supported through budgetary support by Government of Goa. I thank you for have a patient listening. We are honorable, as per the guidance of the honorable member, we are ready for any of the clarification and any of the doubts what my consumers are having. Thank you. Yeah. Every person who has a query, a doubt, with the permission of the honorable member, can stand or can come in front, and if your voice is very clear from the sitting position or the standing position at where you are, you can continue from there, or you can come here for clarity. You can raise your doubts.
Honorable Member Mrs. Jyoti Prasad, Mr. S.D. Sharma, Mr. Stephen, press, ladies and gentlemen. With regards, I'm here today to object to this proposed power tariff hike. In fact, I have given my submission in writing to the Honorable Member. This hike basically of 15 to 60 paise per unit of domestic low tension consumers and 70 paise per unit for domestic of high tension consumers. Also, what I noticed is there is an increase in the fixed charges. That was rupees 22 to rupees, there was 20 to rupees 22 per kilowatt per month. Now basically the Goa Electricity Department in November 2021 in its 3-year business plan had proposed that there would be no change for 3 years and there would be no hike until 31st March 2025. Second, I had demanded from the Honorable Chief Electrical Engineer the performa account. This is very important. What is put on the website is the performa report, and there is a failure. It is shown very rosy. In this performa account, you all have failed to inform the public of DCB, that is demand, collection and the balance. The public needs to know the exact scenario in the electricity department. Also, another important point is it is important to understand the actions of the electricity department with regards to the power losses and the power thefts. There is no mention of this. Basically, inefficiency of the department or of the government should not burden the common man. This is a very basic element. The overall 6% hike that is proposed, I think this government can afford this 6% hike by giving subsidy. They have spent 33,000 they are able to spend for a swearing-in ceremony. Per minute they can spend 33 lakhs. Why can't they absorb this 6% hike and give subsidy and relief to the common man? The chief engineer has been wise enough to point out that due to COVID, the common man has got a lot of problems. And they have just come out of it. We as Goans have just come out of it. So do not burden this common man. Another point that I would like to point out to you, madam, is the security deposit. That interest has been given to the, it is not regular, on the security deposit to the consumer. This also needs to be rectified. With regards to the solar energy, the Honorable Prime Minister's contribution to the world was 175 gigawatts. Goa's contribution towards that was supposed to be 358 megawatts. But the failure, as shown today, of the government, only contribution is 33.34%. So basically what has been seen, I believe that you all should not tax. I've submitted my memorandum in detail to you, madam. I request you that there should be no hike, and because Ami Goenka I would speak in Konkani. I'm गोंयकाराचे जे आज दिसता म्हाका कोविडा वेळार सरकारान जे हाल केले, this has to stop. Stop taxing the common man instead of giving relief. You are taxing and overburdening the common man. This has to stop. Thank you.
Please maintain silence. I would request to maintain silence. Everybody, with the permission of the honorable member, will get a chance.
Madam, myself, Durgadas Kamath, General Secretary of the Goa Forward Party. Government of Goa has petitioned the JRC for an increase of 6% tariff across the board. The wording of this petition makes one thing clear, that Government of Goa has proposed this hike and the JRC only approves it. In the past, BJP governments have claimed that JRC has imposed power tariffs on the common man, but now it's one more lie that has been nailed. It has been always the case that the government increased power tariff, proposes hike, and the JRC approves them based on the figures provided by the electricity department, which shows gaps in revenue to justify the hikes. It must be noted that in January 2022, when the JRC had approved the Goa electricity department's proposed tariff hike, the government had decided to freeze it. Why? Well, that was the question. Obviously, it was an election year, so that government refrained from increasing tariff hikes in the year 2022, only for votes. Now, the government has decided to burden the common man. Another point which is interesting, that the justification for the hike is based on the revenue gap shown by the electricity department. Page 19 of the petition clearly states that electricity department's accounts for the year 2019-20, 21-22 have not yet been audited, though they should have been submitted by November 2021. The petition dated 30th November promises that the audited accounts for the year would be submitted by 22 and 2022. It would be interesting to know whether it has been done or not. In any case, the figures on which the tariff is based are on provisional actual numbers, and the term used and again in the petition, this is another way of saying that the hike is not based on actual numbers but the numbers that have been fabricated or fudged. Coming to the revenue gap, which is sought to be filled by the burdening the pockets of common men. That the electricity department has any measures in the recent past to investigate the reasons for the revenue gap. One obvious reason is the AT&C loss, aggregate technical and commercial loss, which denotes the amount of power generated or purchased, which does not reach the consumers and hence cannot be sold. Because it is a loss in either technical loss, meaning distribution losses because of poor quality infrastructure, or commercial losses like theft of energy, inefficient billing methods, etc. The petition admits a transmission and distribution loss of 8.45%, which is very high for a state like Goa, having a very small size and practically even terrain. The Central Power Ministry's website shows an ATC loss of 13.39% for Goa. Compare this to 12.5 ATC loss of a state like Himachal Pradesh, whose area is 15 times the Goa, and which has extremely hilly terrains and ensures high distribution losses. This obviously means that government is making the common man pay for its own inefficiency and incompetency. At last, the proposed revenue gap recovery through the tariff hike for the financial year 23-24, which will come in effect from 1st April 23, is 134.96 crores. The budgetary support commitment from the government to remaining gap is around 3.69 crores. However, the electricity department, which should have been looking towards to be competent and efficient enough to bridge the revenue gap by improving its performance and financial ability, wants to now burden common Goinkars. We are convinced that consumers should not be burdened further in difficult times, and the JRC should compel the Goa Electricity Department to reduce its ATC loss percentage which would bring down the budgetary support required from the government. We also demand that the figures put up by Electricity Department should be vetted by an independent authority. An independent authority should vet these figures because they have not audited the accounts, nothing. So that justification for the both tariff hike and budgetary support is checked for authenticity. Also, we would like to make a final point, madam, that in October 2018, then Power Minister had promised that there would be no power tariff hikes in Goa until and unless Government of Goa gives 24 hours power supply, which is not happening at the moment. There are power cuts across the states. We would also like to remind the Chief Engineer that he was present on a press conference on 14/1/2020 when the Power Minister reiterated his statement of 2018. So we would like to know what is the justification that the government is giving. At last, one important thing, our party president had recently exposed an Niti Aayog report which was submitted to the Honorable Chief Minister but which was not shared with even with the media. In that, it's very interesting, you might have hold a copy of it. Niti Aayog report in November 2022 cautioned the Goa government over its high power tariff. In a document presented to the CM, the Aayog also recommended reduction of ATC losses, which said it is high. So I would like to ask the Electricity Department and the Goa government, does it not agree to the findings of the Niti Aayog, which is given by the top engine to the state engine? So, from on behalf of Goa Forward Party, we strongly object. आम्ही मागतात की हे पावर टॅरिफ हायक करचे न्ही, बारीक लोकांचेर हाजेर पयलींच आता म्हारगाय वाडल्या, सगळे वाडिल्ले आसा. तुम्ही 24 hours सप्लाय दिवपाक अजूनही पावनात, जे तुम्हीच प्रॉमिस करतात. नीती आयोगाचो रिपोर्ट आसा and we strongly object to this increase in power tariff until and unless infrastructure and other things are put in place. Thank you.
असं बाहेर असं May I request all these stakeholders, please, in case of you are having any views, suggestion or comments, please raise your hand and request, please don't approach the dais. Yeah, we got a list. We'll announce the name who want to basically speak so that they can speak as per their turn.
First, because if we are already in the list, then we don't want to repeat ourselves.
I'll go through the list of names. With the permission of our yes. First is Mr. ADTS. The mic can be shared. I think that will be better.
No, I'll come there.
Sir, request in case that can be basically shared from there.
I won't.
No, it will be better for us to shoot from here.
Come in front here.
No, that will be better.
You're allowed the meeting and one would allow me to come on the day.
Oh, that is the guy, sir. So that you can address.
Yeah.
Good day, Honorable Chairman, engineers, and सगळे देव बरें दिसता. एडी तवारीस गोलच्या. आता आमच्या चीफान सगळे सांगला की हो इन्क्रीमेंट कित्याक काय म्हणून. हांव म्हणटा हो इन्क्रीमेंट आमच्या बारीक लोकांचेर तुमी दिवचो ना. कित्याक जायती आसा. तुमी लायटीची बिल वाडयली पूण बारीक पळयत जाल्यार हांवें एक हे हाडला पळयात तुमी. हे लायटीची बिलां आमची एनर्जी चार्जीस पळय आसा ते थोडे आसा. पूण एक दुसरे तुमचे फिक्स चार्जीस, FPPA, संडे चार्जीस वा तुमचो मसालपण आसा तो कितलो जाता. तुमचे कम्याचे 4 आणे आनी मसाल्याचे 12 आणे. हे कांय समजना. आनी शिकिल्ले मनशां तरी हे तरी तुमी तरी विचारपाक वचत. इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिपार्टमेंटाक तरी वचत. The electricity department engineers are very good. they are all PhDs in pacifying the consumers. तूं तांचे बरे कडेन कसली डिफिकल्टी घेवन वच ते तुका समजावन इतले तुका समजाता ती तूच म्हणटा बाबा आसूं चल हांव वता असली दृश्ट आसा. फाटीं म्हाका मडगांव गेलो 4थ्या माळयेचेर थिंगा एक आमचे चली भुरगी इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजिनियर आसा बरें दिसता ताचे बरें हांव गेलो म्हगे डिफिकल्टीज घेवन आनी हांवें ताका सांगलें बाय पळय म्हाका फेब्रुवाराक तुवें तोच हे येयला आंकडो येयला युनिट आनी मार्चांत तोच आयला पूण म्हाका डिफरन्स मेळ्ळा 9 रुपयांचे. तर तांकां मॅस केलें ते सांगपा लागले सांगता हांव ताका वच सकता म्हाका म्हणत तेजें ना तें सांगता फक्त एक म्हाका आयको येता सायकल हे ते हांवें सांगून परत ते परत ते म्हणटा सायकल. सो एज पर सायकल हांवें विचारलें यू आर चार्जिंग मी एज पर द युनिट सो वाय आर युजिंग दीस सायकल एंड वॉट इज दीस फॉर दीस 9 वाय द 9 रुपीज डिफरन्स तें सांगत ना. अशें जालें की लास्टाक आमी सोडून येयला. सो दॅट इज वाय आय से that the engineers are very good in pacifying the consumers. ते लास्टाक तुका कशें सांगता त्या पासून हांव म्हणटा तुमी आय रिक्वेस्ट द चेअरपर्सन not to squeeze the domestic consumers. For others, for the big industries, you charge them. We don't mind. Because they are also squeezing some money. That's what I know that. आता पळयल्यार तुमी आमचे पॉलिटिकल येवन गेले ते तांची सांगून गेले कित्याक फाल्यां सांगपा जाय आमगेर कितें केलां हांव म्हणून पूण मागीर कोण लोक आसा ते तेंचे आयकोन ते रावले ना आमचे कितें सांगपा जाय ते रावले ना. आनी म्हाका बरें दिसता आशिल्लें इलेक्ट्रिसिटी डिपार्टमेंटान मिस्टर चीफ इफ यू हॅड टू कॉल युअर चीफ दिस थिंग आमचो ढवळीकर बाबा तेकाच कळपा जाय आशिल्लें तो कितें करता. हांव म्हणना तुमी वाडयनाका न्हू वाडयात पूण हे तुमचे पळय आसा हें सामकें चड फ्लक्च्युएशन जाता. आय हॅव सीन अ लॉट ऑफ फ्लक्च्युएशन. तुमचे मिटर रेंट आसा आमची जाणा भुरगेपणा सावन आय एम 64 नाव पूण हांव जाणा आमी यूज करतात ताजे तुमी पयशे घेताले मिटराचे 5 वा 10 रुपये घेताले आनी 3 फेस मिटर जाल्यार मातशे चड मायज घेताले आनी तुमी टोटल दिताले आनी सपोज तरी हांवें ह्या म्हयन्याक तें तरी भरलं ना ते एकट्या म्हयन्याक तुमी तेजे एकट्या मातशें मायज कितें इंट्रस्ट घेवन तुमी तें हें करता. पूण आतां तुमचें ना. आतां तुमचे फकत ही नाक जाल्लेली FPPCA आनी कितें Sunday charges and I understand that the Sunday charges means various charges. Why are these various charges? Mr. Chief, please explain to us when I finish. Why are these various charges? I don't know. हांवें कितें मातशें शिकलां म्हणून हांव तें जाणा त्या पासून हांव मागता तुमचे लागीं तुमी वो तुमचे पळय मसालो पळय आसा तो मातशें कुशीन धरा फक्त तुमची चिकनाचे आमकां तुमी पयशे सांगा दुसरें सांगनाका. आनी आमच्या कंज्युमराक तुमी हे घुमटे धरून आमची पीड करनाका. पळयात गव्हर्मेंट आमी तुमकां विचून काडटात लोक तुमकां विचून काडटात कित्याक टू गिव अ गुड गव्हर्नन्स इट इज नॉट रिक्वायर्ड दॅट यू हॅव टू टेक ऑल द मनी फ्रॉम अस ऑल्सो. यू ऑल्सो स्पेंड. Why can't you spend on account of the domestic consumers when you can do a lot of things? Prime Minister येता जाल्यार तुमी तूं रात्या मध्ये तुमी हेलिपॅड तयार करतात ते करपाक तुमचे लागीं पयशे आसात जाल्यार डोमेस्टीक हे कोण कंज्युमर आसात तांकांय लागून तुमी कितें करात. तुमी सगळे हांव पळयता तुमी म्हणटात लायट अशें जाता तशें जाता म्हूण कितल्या हांब्यांनी लायट चालूच आसता पालोवपाक कोण वचना. ही तुमची इन्वेस्टमेंट एनर्जी तुमी हांव पळयता सगळ्या गव्हर्मेंट ऑफिसांनी सगळे कोण सामके टॉप मोस्ट आसात ते गव्हर्मेंट ऑफिस सोडून येता आसतना कोण आपलो लायट ऑफ करून तो लायट ऑफ करना ना म्हणून तो हे ऑफ करना कितें फॅन ऑफ करना तो मागीर तुमचो तो कोण येता 10 मिनटांनी तुमी गेले उपरांत 10 मिनटां तो पिवन येता आनी तो पिवन येवन कितें करून लायट ऑफ करता तेगेले इश्टाचेर करून तो येवन पाटून ऑफ करता बरें करून डेसेंट करना आनी ती लायट ऑफ करता. दिस इज नॉट वेस्टेज ऑफ एनर्जी. मागीर जायत्या 4 रस्त्यांनी 4 रस्ते जंक्शन बिंक्शन जाता थिंगा हे पळयल्यात 4 आर्म 5 आर्म अशें करून तुमगेले आसात सगळ्या लायट्यो विनाकारण लायटी पेटले आसतात. दिस इज नॉट वेस्टेज. Small thing makes a very good thing. So, Mr. Chief, please see that you do these things. Please instruct your engineers. They have been paid. Tell your engineers to tell the linemen to take care of all these things. And when you take care of all these things, we will save a lot of things. And when we save a lot of things, it is not required that the domestic consumers should be helped. Please, I request the chairperson just to take note of this. Very big thank you.
Next is Mr. Sudhir Kumar. Mr. Suresh Babu. Mike.
Come in. Stay.
I am Suresh from MRF. I am basically mentioning about the my industry's case. Last 2 years, 2021-22 onwards, we have seen a hike in landing cost of about 20%. This is what is the reality. In 2021-22, there is no tariff hike, but EB has gone for KVAH billing. This billing has indirectly cost us 22 paise per unit hike. Main contribution is silently one component has disappeared from the bill, that is power factor incentive. As an industry, EDG has promised earlier that you invest money on capacitors and improve the power factor, which will reduce distribution loss. For that, EDG will give a small incentive. This has disappeared in the bill. And for those who are not maintaining good power factor, they were penalized heavily. This is what is the net effect. And MRF has lost 22 paise per unit. In year 2022-23, tariff hike has happened, 30 paise per unit. In addition to that, FPPCA has gone up to 1.05, 1 rupee 5 paise per kWh. Previous year it was only 42 paise. And if you go back, it is only hardly 10 paise, 15 paise. So this huge increase, and in addition to that, one more new component has come in the bill, that is public lighting duty, 8 paise. Already electricity duty 70 paise is charged in the bill. Altogether, 2022-23, we have paid 11 crore rupees additional. This proposed hike EDG has to be dropped. Because already after this pandemic, most of our industries which is operating in Goa is limping back to normal. Please help us, if possible. I am not telling you have to roll back without any reasons. Already it is hiked 20% last 2 years. People are thinking nothing has increased in 21-22. But that shift only KVAH billing itself is given an advantage to EDG. That is what I want to mention. If possible, please, this proposed tariff hike has to be dropped. Thank you.
The stakeholder may give the comments in writing in case they are having a copy.
I have already emailed.
Okay. Sir Ashray Doors has. Excuse me. Okay. Mr. Gerard Demallo.
Good afternoon, madam, and good afternoon all dignitaries and everybody present. My name is Gerard De Mello. I am Chairman Basic Infrastructure Committee of Goa Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So we have already submitted our reply to the petition, but I'd just like to highlight a few points. One is, of course, there have been improvements, and I wish to thank the department. Definitely there is an improvement, but a lot more needs to be done. Regarding now in table number 4.6, it's a good thing that now the distribution loss is being limited to 8.45. That's a good step. Now, if you see table number 412, the estimate and actuals of power purchase and the cost, there is a wide variation. The energy estimation is less by about 5%, and the cost is less by 21%. So therefore, it shows that the cost of power purchase is too much away from the target. Also, the revenue was estimated, the difference in the revenue is by 26.24%. So this could mean that, actually by showing less sales, it is assumed that the department will be encashing less, whereas actually there may not be, the amount encashed will be more, and therefore there may not be a reason to increase so much. Now, the power demand, the projections of energy sale has been considered on the basis of the previous 3 years. But we would like to bring to the notice that the power demand and energy sale is expected to be much higher than the pre-pandemic years. In fact, it should be doubling in 10 years because of various reasons. Commissioning of Zuari Bridge, increase in EV, electric vehicle population, various things, the high-end malls and other things coming up, air conditioning load increasing. So all this means that they have to consider that the power demand is going to increase considerably. There are also areas where the power reliability is very poor. There are more than 800 hours of no power. So, of course, we hope that this will improve with the underground cabling, but these are areas of concern. The average power purchase rate is 4 rupees 6 paise per unit, which is an all-time high. As our Chief Electrical Engineer mentioned, this could be because of the increase in cost, due to peak power restriction and coal demand, coal problems and all. But we suggest that ED Goa should resort to tendering at least for 125 megawatts of power additional. Yes, earlier the Power Minister in October 2022 had announced that the state will encourage pumped hydro storage power. Now this is a feature which will help availability of power during peak hours. So there is no mention made about this in the petition. Promotion of solar power and offshore wind, etc. have to be explored further. And what happens at present without storage, these projects are not really very suitable because they don't contribute to peak power and also reliability. So it is important that batteries should be made affordable and some subsidy and incentives should be provided for batteries. Converting the divisions and subdivisions as strategic business units is a very important step. Increase in tariff for agriculture allied activities, HT and LT, should be brought on par with the increase in tariff for agriculture for pump sets and all. There are two different categories. We recommend that the increase, if at all, should be uniform. Thank you.
Mr. Sanjay Anand.
Good afternoon. I represent the Goa Chamber. The points which I wanted to mention have already been discussed, but just to add some more of them. First and foremost, there is a transmission loss which is mentioned at 8.45%, which the ED proposes to cap. If you see the last 2-3 years, the loss initially was showing as 15%, then it was dropped to 12, then it was showing 10, and now they have taken approval for 10%. These are actually with the size of the state of Goa, this is a very heavy loss. And if this loss can be brought down, then there is no need for increase in the tariff which is mentioned. Point number 2 is that they are saying that the average increase is 6%. But if you calculate, 6% is for the domestic consumer. For industries, it is between 15 to 18% if you can calculate it. It is very clear. So that should be considered. Let's understand that after COVID, the industry is limping, especially in Goa, there is no industrial growth at all. In fact, there is a negative growth. And by increasing this tariff for the industry, you are almost choking them, so they won't be able to perform. That is one. Point number 3 is regarding the finances. Somebody had mentioned that accounts have not been finalized. In fact, 3 years back, when Mr. Konkani was the chief electrical engineer, we had approached him. And right from 2012 onwards, audited accounts of electricity departments were not available. We have been pressing them to have a double entry system. They still have a single entry system, which doesn't give a perfect picture of what accounting is happening. Like how much money is there in the market to be picked up, how many people have not paid. So there should be a double entry system. We have been proposing in many government departments, but that is not happening. We are in GAP 2 now, that is a standard accounting system all over the world. And this electricity department also should fall in line. In fact, ICI, that is Chartered Accountants Association, had approached with a proposal to the department saying that we should start with this double entry system. You get a very clear picture. And if you work that way and audit the account, then you will get a clear picture of where the finances of electricity department stand today. Based on that, we can work on it. Just asking for increase without having the concrete numbers in your hand will not be the correct procedure. That's what the chamber feels. Last but not the least, if you see in the petition, there are some annexures mentioned which shows the salaries, the statements of how many employees, etc. are there. Last 4 or 5 years, again we are telling the same thing. These annexures are not attached. It is nowhere available. When we go to the department, they also do not have this. So whenever you mention any annexure in the petition, they should be a part of the petition and should be available for public to check what is happening. So these are some of the points which I would like to put before the honorable member. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Mr. Konkani.
Sir, we have already covered. I'm a member.
Mr. Deepak, okay.
My points also have been addressed.
Mr. Joseph D'Souza.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairperson. I am Joseph D'Souza, part of the Goa Chamber of Commerce, particularly interested in the agriculture activity in the state. And with due respect to the Chief Engineer and all others, I'd like to submit that as far as agriculture is concerned, there are 2 major concerns. One is that we do not get the right voltage. Invariably, voltages are much lower than 400 on 3-phase, which means that our equipment has to run more, the life of the equipment of the farmer. It is in the long run impacting the farmer negatively, and that needs to be addressed. We also have a situation where I just realized from the presentation of the Chief Engineer, the military services are not being given the burden of any escalation. I'm presuming because they are looking after the security of the state. Well, the farmers are looking after the food security of the state. Why do we have to be burdened with? I mean, if it has to be a burden, it has to be a burden to all across the board. I'm not saying it should not be, but if it is, then let us be fair. I don't see any difference between A consumer or B consumer. So please consider either rollback for agriculture or be fair to everybody and charge the same burden to others also. There is also this aspect about agri-voltaic. There was much spoken about it in the last few years, but unfortunately, to my knowledge, there's not been much that has been implemented. The reasons for not implementing, the way we've seen it as agricultural farmers, is that the land is agriculture and there are some issues to do with land revenue code. Now, it's an opportunity for the farmer to make a little more money out of his agricultural land. It would help in achieving the Honorable Prime Minister's target of doubling the income of the farmer. But hurdles need to be removed. It would be able to give clean power to the state from within the state, where the revenue that is being generated would go back to somebody in the state rather than being paid outside the state. I request that emphasis is laid on this. Honorable Chairperson, with this I think that's all I need to submit. Thank you.
Honorable MLA, we covered. Mr. Mohandas Gurietkar. Mr. Dalit Samkari.
Honorable Chairperson and my friends, first person who had given petition or reply, he had said that there are various subsections in the bills, and in this presentation by Chief Engineer only two columns were mentioned. One is fixed charge and one is variable charges. But other charges like sundry duties, like PPF, PCA, etc., nothing has been mentioned. So if at all increase it in the tariff, it should be total from X to Y, and not only a few parts of it. So there is some presentation that is slightly problematic, and it is not showing correct increment in the total billing of the client. Only two parts are showing. That is part number one. Second part is, just now a gentleman mentioned regarding low voltage. This low voltage and high voltage, this problem is there for everybody. Many times we find that due to high voltages, our equipments are burning, refrigerators are burning, fans are burning. There is no accountability from anybody. If there is a complaint, high voltage has happened and equipments are burning, there must be some mechanism to give proper sort of loss to the clients, because as per Electricity Act, as per its rules, voltage frequency has to be within plus or minus 5 or 8%. When it goes down or when it goes up, in both the cases, clients are suffering, and there is no mechanism so far from the AC department side to check this. Any losses because of low voltage or because of high voltage must be properly compensated for the consumers. That's all. Thank you.
Mr. Ashish Kundalkar.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I represent Zuari Foods and Farms and Tropical Mushrooms, and I would like to state that the tariff increase in agriculture allied is in HT as well as LT is increased by 25 and 20%, which is about 14 and 10% respectively.
So I would like to request the Commission to lower it and bring it to par with other categories. I think about 10 paisa. The petition has already been mailed to the Commission. Thank you.
Mr. Arvo D'Souza.
Honorable Member, I speak as a common man, and just a few things that I need to highlight. I find that the Commission has been continuously leaving the Electricity Department and not allowing the Electricity Department to perform as it is expected to. Now, energy audits, which are supposed to be presented by the ED to the Commission, has not been done for several years. And I have been standing at least for 5 years trying to get the ED to present the energy audits. Till date, it has not been done. Now, what are energy audits? For those who don't know, every transformer has a meter, and that meter is a sum of all the consumers down the line. Now, if it does not match to the consumption, then there is something going wrong, or the junior engineer should be held responsible, or there is some power pilferage, and many other things. Now, these energy audits have not been submitted. I have also taken documents under RTI, where these meters, which were supposed to be installed and supposed to be mentioned to the Commission, how many meters have been installed, is not up to the mark. There are no meters in some transformers, installed in some transformers. So how will we at all understand, if you take the audit, how do we at all understand what are the losses that the Electricity Department is facing? It's really absurd. I mean the Commission should penalize the Electricity Department for not performing and not doing its duty in installing the energy, in presenting the energy audits, and also if they have not installed those transformers, I think the Commission should take serious action on the Electricity Department. Now, as far as the revenue gap is concerned of 348.69 crores, and now that they are predicting that it's going to be 483.65 crores in 2023 and 24, I really, what are we? Are we really predicting that the Electricity Department is not going to take steps in bringing down this revenue gap? I'm finding it really absurd. Instead of reducing the revenue gap, in the last many years, it has climbed from around 100 crores to now they are saying 400 plus crores. So why is the Energy Department not taking steps to see that ultimately what happens? You are taxing us here by the increase of bills, and you are also taking budgetary allocations from the government, which is also our money. So you are double taxing us unnecessarily. Bill recovery is zero. I'll give you my example. In 2013, I have written to the Electricity Department, Bambolim substation, that there is one meter that you are saying is somewhere in the air, and you are charging me a bill. 2013, I told them that this meter does not exist,
and this bill has been erroneously put forth to me. 2013, today, I was under shock that I had been given a show cause notice to pay a bill of 1,65,000. When I had already written to the department saying that this meter does not exist, this connection does not exist. What is the JE doing? Today if you go to the Bambalin substation, Chief Engineer sir, go to the Bambalin substation, the JE is doing clerical job. When he is supposed to be on his feet to rectify the problems of the people, he is doing a clerical job in the morning session, and in the evening session probably he is going and finding out what's going wrong otherwise. So junior engineers are less in number. Also the staff is less in number. There are 4 linemen being posted at the substation of Bambali substation, which is also looking after another 4 substations. So if there is a breakdown in Agasai, linemen from Bambali substation is been transported to Agasai, which is almost 2 to 3 kilometers away. So what happens when there is a breakdown in Santa Cruz, for example, that they have to wait for the linemen or for the staff to finish their job in Agasai and then come and attend Santa Cruz problems. I don't know how these things will work. Now, unnecessarily we are dumping all our losses, the electricity department losses, into the hands of the common people, which is indeed a failure of the EDG. And last, I just want to point out, I have been going through the petition, and in the petition they mention that the underground cabling work of Santa Cruz will be tendered, has been tendered, but the work will start next year, next financial year. I would like to say that the cabling work has already begun in Santa Cruz, and the roads have been dug up and have been left unattended, which results into traffic jams and also accidents. Lastly, I just want to point out this, whether the electricity department is really doing its work as per the tendering process, or are they giving leverage to the MLAs or to other people who are trying to boast of development, a hand that you do the job, we will see the tendering process when it comes. Is this how these things operate? I was in Panjim a few days back in Azad Maidan, and I found a bill which was pushed in the meter box of Azad Maidan. Now the last bill that was paid by the Commissioner of Panjim was in 2020. No action. But if it was the same had to be with the consumers, you all would have disconnected the electricity supply. 2020, the last bill was being paid. The present bill is about ₹1,00,000. So why no action? Today I purposely went to one tower lighting installed in Santa Cruz. The meter is disconnected, but every day I see that the tower lights up. So these are the things that the electricity department is suffering losses, and therefore I request you please do the energy audit, find out where the pilferage is taking place, and don't unnecessarily penalize the normal consumer with additional burden. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone gathered here. पयलीं सुवातेर आज हांव रिकॉर्डार घालूंक सोदतां की हे जे हियरिंग सो कॉल्ड पब्लीक हियरिंग जे कंडक्ट केलां ते हियरिंग has been conducted in a very haphazard manner and on a very short notice. हे रिकॉर्डार घालपाक जाय की I am here as a legislator of the Benaulim constituency on behalf of my constituents as well as on behalf of Goans at large that we oppose and we want to put on record this objection that for conducting this hearing, particularly during working hours on a working day where a common man is not able to attend. And this hearing is for a common man's purpose to understand his grievances, and the whole purpose of this hearing is lost because the common man cannot attend this hearing at this time what is being proposed. The commission should seriously consider holding it on a weekend and giving sufficient notice and consider whatever was discussed here to be carried forward for another day during a weekend so that the common man of Goa and Goans can come here and present whatever is their point of view towards this tariff that has been presented. Dusra point, I place my strong objections to the hike in domestic tariff, especially because of its timing. When inflation is high, job losses are high, it will further burden the average household. Further, this hike will hardly have any impact. Although तुम्ही hike केला, तो हायकाचो पैस घेऊन जोरी तरी the net financial of the electricity department जोरी तरी तीन फायदो जाल्लो substantially. जाल्यार आमच्यान कितें चिंतपा जाता की हो पैशांनी तुम्ही substantial तुमका कितें अचीव जातले म्हणून पूण हो हायकाचेर तुमकां वडेस कांय फरक पडना फायनान्शियलाचेर. So why to impose this hike when there is so many other taxes that is already we are burdened with? So why are we proposing this hike? And especially if you look into systematically what is being put up, this entire money is totally for infrastructure. This amount is not being put on renewable energy. Investments are not done on renewable energy with an accountable process, with a business plan that if today we invest X number of crores of rupees on renewable energy in this financial sector, in the next 2 or 3 financial sectors, this is the revenue that we are going to earn. So, ऐसो कांय उलयलो ना, पूण फकत हिंग उलयलो हा की infrastructure की transformer जावं light जावं हेच करपाक आनी हेच करपाक. Why do we have to burden the taxpayer? Why do we have to burden the locals? Why do we have to burden the common man? I am not against the industries. They know how much they are being burdened with. They know the quality of electricity that they are getting and whether they are getting continuous or no. But where a common man is concerned, I feel today the difference between the domestic and the commercial prices what is there. That difference is the smallest over here, is the least compared to other states. So जोरी तरी गरज पडटा जाल्यार म्हाका सदा पयले सुवातेर म्हाका सदा ही जो difference आहा, we'll have to check on the difference. So industries are also charged, domestics are also charged. But today the difference between domestic and commercial, we are much more lower than the other states. So consideration has to be given that domestic increase korop na. You have to give and take business. Industries again तो तू वाडयतलो जाल्यार इंडस्ट्रीज एश्योरन्स दिवपा जाय की तू तांका 24 hours continuous electricity supply दितलो. They are not going to use generators, they are not going to consume diesel when you are giving them a hike. And in case you are not able to give them continuous electricity, then you will take back, you will have a rebate system where X number of hours you are not able to provide to the industry supply, so X number of hours is going to be a rebate. So it is a give and take. You increase their tariff if you have to increase, but if you are not able to give 24 hours continuous supply and there is a report coming from a system that this much of hours of supply was not supplied during the month, it has to be rebated back off. So this system has to be introduced if you are giving an increase for the industries. But for domestic purpose, we totally do not agree to whatever has been put down. The third point is the electricity department, already it has been mentioned, is guilty of poor financial reporting. Unless every rupee spent in capital expenditure or otherwise is put through a double entry accounting process, which has been spoken by a gentleman just few minutes while, this department has no moral authority to propose a tariff hike for any category to the consumers. Finally, the electricity department as a team, I see they are trying their best. Everything is pushed to do online. तुमजोरी चोय जाल्यार आज सगळे ऑनलाइन करपाक प्रपोज केलो. पूण हे ऑनलाइन कोतो जाल्यार आमगे जे एई आय जेई आय जे डीलिंग हेड्स आय त्यांचो जो ट्रेनिंग दिताय तो ट्रेनिंग सफिशियंट ना. कित्याक जर नये कनेक्शनाची फाईल इफ वी पुट इट ऑनलाइन अपलोड केले सगळे, जो डीलिंग क्लर्क आहा, जो डीलिंग हेड आहा, तो परत तुका हार्ड कॉपी मागता. सो हे कोण चेक करता? हे सिस्टमान इनकॉर्पोरेट करपाची गरज आहा. तुम जर तरी ऑनलाइन हाडला, which is good, which is the future, but you need to presently, till everybody gets used to the system, needs to ensure that there is a checking point on all your officials, how they are handling the consumer. There are several complaints that the consumer has to go back with hard copies when it is not required. If you are doing online, means everything goes online. Only if they have to compare your originals, then you have to go with the originals. Na aapki hard copy korbachi garoz. Very important is we need to stress on awareness on using the 1912 number जो complaint number. तो complaint number उसको सगळो complaint घेवपाचो. कोणूय डिपार्टमेंटांतलो ऑफिशियल जोरी तोरी फाईल हार्ड कॉपी मागता जेन्ना गरज ना तेन्ना तुज्यान 1912 चे रिपोर्ट करपाचो. I think everything, anything related, whether it is somebody is harassing you for a meter, whether somebody is harassing you for a file, for an online document which has to be done, 1912 needs to be the number. You pick up the phone, address this person, and it has been done. Why? This will only help us to complete the system. Finally, when it comes to solar energy, we are not talking about investment in a big way for the next financial year. We should be adopting villages in the next financial sector. We should be adopting minimum each village from each constituency to be 100% solar. That is called accountability of investment, which will first of all make Goa as a state who will able to prove as a carbon footprint. गोयचे जे कार्बन फुटप्रिंट जे आहा 40 जोरी तरी विलेजी आमी स्टार्ट करपाक गेल्यो as 100% could be small villages. Each village could have 500 houses, 700 houses, all under solar. Through the government scheme, mandatory government will finance, and then they can use the medium of through the billing. And 40 villages to be tried in the first this year, and this can be used in the platform among all the states of India, where Goa could show what is our carbon footprint. Similarly, those villages could be considered for carbon footprint. And a carbon footprint would have. So we are doing two things: protecting the environment, investing wisely, and third thing is educating the generation to come. I think these are very important points that we need to understand and put into this. The last, what I would say is, the consumer of today is not computer savvy, and we have introduced online systems. We need to ensure that Goinkar, more than 60% are not computer friendly. Te Goinkaran, jennam sogle ya online zuk korun hattay. Te Goinkaran accommodate kurpak tras जायना जावपाक. आमी कितकोन ते हँडल करताय हे म्हाका दिसता गरजेचे. हाउ वी हैव टू पुट इन स्ट्रेस इन ऑल these things. With this, I would like to present the hard copy and invert all my suggestions towards the public hearing for the approval and demanding for another hearing during the weekend by giving sufficient notice for goals. Thank you.